First off, I'd like to invite all members of the board, administration, and the community to stand at attention, facing the flag, and recite the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Yeah, and I got most of the words right. Thanks. Thank you. So we'll start off with President's report, and I did not write something up, so I think basically just so much has happened in the last little bit of time. I wanted to have a couple little thank yous to our board and some of the help that Melissa Oakley has provided in regards to communications and the time that the community has given us with different folks attending different aspects of outreach to the community, of just informing them of what we've been tackling over the last little bit and where we stand today, and really just an idea of the effort that's going to continue. So what we do today and what we've done in the past is around students, the building, and the people, and really trying to continue to create a better environment than we had yesterday. And we start with something that's fairly exceptional, to be honest. And so as we continue that work and to continue to get out to the community and share, please understand and know that it is all the board's efforts and the admin and the people in the building, the teachers, the staff, around improving the students, the student outcomes, their experiences day by day. And we will continue to take that work seriously and continue to move it forward. So I'm thrilled with what's happened, where we are, where we're going, and we will just continue to try to make every day a little bit better. With that, let's pass over to the Lake Forest High School updates. Dr. Lennart.
Thank you. Happy December. I can't believe it. I found a cool mountain scene so we can all think about the snow that's not going to come just yet. I hear El Nino is a big thing around here, and celebrate the upcoming break for sure. To start off the high school report, we're actually going to start with our Impact Spotlight, and I'm so thankful that Heather Strong has joined us to represent Applause, a big event this weekend, but I do not want to steal your thunder, so without further ado, we will have Heather come up and talk to the board about Applause and all the work that they do. Ms. Strong, we're actually going to do a picture with you and the board as well.
While we're waiting to sit, I wanted to mention one more thing that was so important to my son going through the music program at LFHS. And that was, as we think about how to bring our incoming ninth graders into the building in a way that they feel comfortable and they feel like they have community, the marching band camp that happened before school started was an amazing way to get the kids to feel like it was their space and their school, and that then when they walked in the first day, they belonged somewhere. So that was extraordinarily helpful for social and emotional wellness.
Thank you, Ms. Strong, and thank you for representing applause. We gave you a round of applause, which I think was fitting, and I've certainly been to enough of our music concerts to hear many applauses for our students. So we appreciate you. We appreciate all you do to impact Lake Forest High School. Thank you.
You know, can I say something? You know me, I always have to say something. I just think this is, what we heard from you tonight is such a great example of how we have this very small school compared to some other schools on the North Shore, and yet our kids have so many fabulous opportunities, and the parent community works so hard to help make that possible and partner with the school, so thank you to you. But gosh, our kids are lucky.
And the choir is going to sing down at the Nutcracker a week from Saturday. So there'll be the concert that's happening, and then so there's some neat opportunities. And again, I think it's really it's a big kudo to the teachers and the leadership there that continue to look at that and continue to make that opportunity happen. So very, very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And for my part of my principal's report, which is not as much fun as the impact spotlight, but I'll go on and dive right in. 3 big things on the horizon over the course of the next month. The big one, of course, being final exams in a couple of weeks. And students are preparing for those classes. Some classes give alternate assessments. Some classes will do portfolio assessments and projects, and then we'll have some traditional finals also happening in courses. So students will experience a mix of those things. And then we're hoping for that true break. What we mean by true break is that students, if they're reading, it's something that they want to read. If they're doing something for school, it's something that they're interested in or a passion project, because we really want for them to enjoy time with family, with friends, and resting and relaxing. So that true break from December 22nd to January 9th, which I think is 18 full days. That's a long time. So hoping that the entire Lake Forest High School community steps away and has time to just rest and rejuvenate. The start of second semester will be January 10th. So when our students return on the 10th, they'll begin in their second semester courses. You know, second semester for many of our classes, it's like a new chance for a new beginning, and even in classes that are continuing for the rest of the year, it is. So whatever happened in first semester, whatever thing happened that maybe a student is struggling with, you could just cast that aside, because it's all anew. We're back to school, we've had this long break, and it's a new semester and time for you to newly newly implement some new strategies or put some new goals in place too. So second semester is always exciting in the high school world. And then we're also going to be entering course registration, and a big kickoff to that. We'll have the course guide go out in December, but a big kickoff to course registration is the Scout experience. And for a couple years now, we've been doing it where students are actually going into the field house to do clubs and activities. We get great reviews on that. And then we have our core curricular classes that are in our competition gym. We're going to shift it a little bit because we do offer such great electives. We have great fine and performing arts, and many of our teachers are interested in having parents and students visit the learning spaces, and also understanding that these are learning spaces that will change over the course of these rising ninth grade students' lives too. But that they'll be able to see the spaces, for instance, if it's photography, see the equipment, maybe even feel the equipment, see the graphic design equipment, see the wheels for throwing pottery, and just experience that in a really intentional way. So we're looking forward to reoffering student tours. We haven't done that in quite some time, and getting our students in our building. And in doing that, we're actually shifting the activities to the common spaces. That's a big area that we're proud of, and we'll have all of those students who are really energized and celebrating the activities that are there and trying to get the ninth grade students to enroll in those things too. And then students and parents are encouraged to do their pre-registration, and that will be by January 16th, but we will be getting information out this week, actually, about, I cannot believe it, in December about next school year. But in pre-registration, this is something that last year I spoke about quite a bit, but it's parents working with your students. You understand the balance of your students' lives. You know what company they're founding outside of school, what other activities are going on in their lives. So as you're choosing and selecting courses, not only looking at teacher recommendations and counselor recommendations, but I encourage our parents to really work with your student and thoughtfully select classes that help them maintain balance in their lives, because that's really important. And what we do see is we still see students who will overextend themselves. We want students to be able to enjoy the many things that there are to be enjoyed in this community, as well as be academically challenged too. So as you're pre-registering parents, we will have, of course, our course recommendation process, but for you to just really be thinking about, all the activities your parents or your students are involved in. Be thinking about that as you're helping your students select. Something that I had spoken about last month, and it was released in November, is the Lake Forest High School report card. And what I wanted to talk about this month, we typically do our assessment report, but unfortunately, Mr. Lesniak is not available this evening, so we will be doing that in February. So the full assessment report with SAT data, ACT data, dual enrollment data. But I wanted to talk a little bit more about what the report card actual designation means and what is calculated in that, because I've had a lot of questions about it, and I just want to be really transparent and clear with the community. So we were an exemplary school, and if you look around at a lot of our peer schools, you see that many of our peer schools did not reach the exemplary status this past year. However, whenever people start comparing different parts of the data, there's a wondering as to how that happens, and that's what I'm hoping to explain tonight a little bit. So there are many categories that go into the designation. We have sort of the academic indicators, ELA proficiency, math proficiency, and science proficiency. Those go into a weighted percentage, and you see that I put that here. And then you also have the graduation rate, which is a weighted percentage of a 100-point scale. We have ninth grade on track, and that is the number of ninth grade students who finish successfully 5 credits on their first attempt. That's a percentage of our report card. Chronic absenteeism is worth 10%, and chronic absenteeism is defined as students who miss more than 10% of the academic school year. Then we also have something on here called climate survey, and that's that CSCI survey. And that's a percentage, and it's not the student's perception that's the percentage of the report card, it's just actually taking it. It's just the action of taking it. I'm going to talk a little bit about student perception because that's very important, I know, to this board, and that's very important to the administration as well, but that will be on the next slide. When we think about ELA proficiency and math proficiency and science proficiency, you can see on our report card designation we received full points for those categories. So how does that happen? That happens because Illinois has a minimum cutoff to receive full points. And our students met that minimum threshold, that minimum cutoff, that percentage. Now, it is really important for this board to know and the community to know that percentage continues to rise over the next 10 years. By 2033, the state of Illinois is currently saying that 90% of our students have to be proficient for us to receive full points or full percentages in those categories. So it's something whenever we say that we are focused on college readiness skills, it's not us paying lip service as a school community, it's because we also see that that's something we need to value. It's the reputation of our school and it's the preparedness of our students too. Now it's a slow climb to 2033, but it's something that we're constantly going to be looking at, reassessing, and making sure that we're making strides towards. We take that very seriously. But as you can see, that adds up to be the wonderful score of 95.10, with most points coming off for chronic absenteeism. Attendance matters. It's always mattered. I'm really proud of our chronic absenteeism rate, and that's kind of silly to say you're proud of an absenteeism rate. But when I think about and I see what my peer schools are doing in the area, as well as nationally, we see the trend nationally with regards to attendance. I'm really proud that post-COVID, Dr. Montgomery partnered with the leadership team, and we really came out strong about attendance because we knew that it would be a problem. And I think in doing that, it's paid dividends for us. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it's supposed to be 10%. I'm sorry, I have the wrong number up there. For chronic absenteeism, I put 20% in, but it is supposed to be 10%. All right, so with that, and also, if, by the way, if you're looking at report card data, there is one category that we do not get reported on, and that is the English learner progress to proficiency, and that's simply because we do not have enough students who fall in that category to have that reporting category. So that's why you see our percentages are actually a little bit higher in categories that maybe the state would say other schools would not be as high. So ELA proficiency should just be 7.5%. It's 8.04% because they're taking that English learner progress to proficiency and dividing it in different categories. So that's how we get that exemplary rating. I think it's important for the board to be aware and for the public to be aware how that's calculated. So when we talk about the climate survey and the importance in taking the climate survey, it is part of our report card data. When we talk about attendance, it's part of our report card data. And these aren't variables that are arbitrarily made. These are made because it's important for the school. It's important to come to school. It's important to do well to school. It's important to graduate from school. So the state isn't arbitrarily declaring categories either. So with that, and I am going to talk about this, help me with that. I don't know how you all have the endurance with holding this. I am going to talk about this more in February with very specific things that we're doing with regards to the SAT and ACT at Lake Forest High School, those college readiness aspects that we've been talking about. But I think there are three prongs that the community is consistently asking us about. And the first one is the proficiency prong with regards to academic proficiency. That is 11th grade only, and I keep saying that, but it's 11th grade performance on the science and the ELA and the math portion of the SAT, not science. Science is a totally different assessment, but ELA and math portion of the SAT. We have worked, and we worked last summer, thank you to Dr. Montgomery and the board in supporting summer work around enhancing our current coursework to have more college readiness standards built into it. These are basic skills that might be assessed on a college readiness test. We do have stronger intervention. We've been partnering with a tutoring firm outside of Highland Park. I don't know if I'm allowed to say their name or not, but a tutoring firm outside of Highland Park who's been working with teachers and professionals in our building to make sure that we understand what especially the new SAT is asking, and we understand why how those college readiness skills will fold into the classroom instruction we have. And then we have this wonderful new strategic plan. Dr. Montgomery has worked with the team to make sure that we are thinking very intentionally about how we implement year one of that plan. We have some drafts that Dr. Montgomery's reviewing of the first 100 days of the plan. But when you focus on goal 1A, and especially the fact that 100% of our graduates will either be distinguished scholars, career pathway scholars, or have a plan for post-secondary learning or a post-secondary plan for life, that really is a step in the direction of us thinking intentionally about college readiness, because distinguished scholar, a big portion of that are the college readiness skills. Career pathways, a big portion of that are college readiness skills and courses. So the board, the administration, we do believe that these are important and foundational, and we're making that step in our strategic plan, and now we're planning how we implement that. The first 100 days, the second 100 days, 1, 2, 3 years out. Chronic absenteeism, again, attendance matters, but that distinguished scholar, goal 1A, there's also a portion of that has to do with attendance too. So we are invested in the elements of the report card, even if it's not intentionally. And then finally, the climate survey It's only participation for the state of Illinois to get all of the percentage points, but we're very concerned with, we're very interested in what is the data actually saying, what is the student and staff perception. So how, and that's part of those will be part of the goals that we set as a school community, which will make it very important that students are taking the climate survey too. So just so thankful that the board did this courageous work alongside Dr. Montgomery and the administrative team to stand up a strategic plan that really, even maybe unbeknownst to you, fully addresses the elements of the school report card. All right, so I'd like to end on a happy note. I think that the school report card was a happy note too, though. But something that the Forest Scout, which is our student publication, something that they are doing that I think is fun, and it's just a testament to the Portrait of a Learner, is they're doing something called the Friday Five. And the Friday Five, those are people who students, staff members who are making a difference in the lives of other Lake Forest High School community members. And that's really the criteria for you to be recognized as one of the Friday Five. So when I was looking at the Forest Scout just earlier this week, for last week, James Wang, Erica Kuzera, Veronica Barra, Nate Williams, and Hudson York were all named. And as the Friday Five, the 5 LFHS community members who are making a difference. I haven't made a Friday Five list, but it's, I know, I'm like, what? But this is really something that's personal to the students, and I think as I read through and I see the way that the 5 are described, I see things like a great friend, someone who goes out of their way to make someone feel included or wanted in a classroom. This is a student. She is kind, a friend who will make sure to find a way to make you smile. She's talented, she's charismatic. A great work ethic, another student, a natural leader. He does it the right way, and he doesn't take shortcuts. Encourages everyone to flourish and thrive, caring and passionate. Sense of humor, dedication to everything he does. Kind heart, acts responsibly, cares more about the team's successes than any individual accolades. You know, ladies and gentlemen, this is Lake Forest High School. These are the people that I get to serve every single day, and we should be excited about that. So with that, I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lerner. Dr. Montgomery? Tiana knows it's just going to get worse now that I'm talking. Thank you, Dr. Lenart. Tonight's superintendent's report, I'm covering, I promise I'll be brief. There's more items. We're going to go move quickly through them. But about 5 things to talk to you about. And I'm going to start with a celebration on a presentation that we did at the III conference, where we had both board members and cabinet present on a topic which was 5 strategies to connect and reach your board's maximum impact. This team and board feel passionately about educating, partnering with, and communicating with fellow boards and fellow administrative teams and districts, and share our learnings and learn from others. So this was something I was really excited about, that we had the opportunity to present to the state on this topic. And Dr. Venson joined from the 115 board, and Ms. Helms participated from the 67. And I think based on the feedback that we received from the presentation, it was well received. And we will continue to look for ways to give back to the communities from both a micro community such as our own to a larger scale in the state, and then ultimately at the national level. I have the opportunity this week to travel to present in a group called the Superintendent Collaborative, of which I serve as an advisor. And the topic of my conversation, I'm kicking off the conference. I'm not quite sure how they couldn't find somebody stronger, but they picked me and asked me to kick off the conference, and I was honored that they asked. And the topic is harnessing the lessons from current challenges. And I'm leading talking about the state of the superintendency, and I just want to build on last month's celebration of the board. If you look at the stats across the country right now,
If you look at, of the largest 500 district, 50% replaced the superintendent from March 20 to September 22. The turnover rate is growing across the 13,000 districts in the country from 14.2% to 17.1%. And what the RAND studies are saying is that leaders, and I would say that you could substitute superintendents with principals, with central office staff, with teachers. Right now, the political forces are a maelstrom of sorts across the country, and school districts are the epicenter of some of that work. So if you look nationally at how leaders are rating their jobs, it is problematic, to say the least. And I just want to celebrate the partnership that we were able to share with the state of the work we're doing with the boards and the admin team. And that's the story I'm going to tell. So as I travel tomorrow through the end of the week and I give this presentation, it will be, here's where we are, but here are some of the things that we're doing in Lake Forest that I think that hopefully you could use as opportunities to steal great ideas, and then I'm going to engage in a collaborative approach to get some great ideas from the people that are in the group. So I just wanted to share that that's happening. I also want, along the same idea, so the community knows, both boards are engaging in a book study right now. Both 67 and 115 had a joint meeting and workshop in November, and then in the December meetings, the board members are graciously giving up time at separate boards meeting. Wednesday of next week will be the 67 meeting, and Thursday will be 115. And we are working to unpack what we learned from this book, great on their behalf. And it is looking at how we can turn our focus as a Board of Education and admin team to laser focus on student-focused outcomes. And I want to celebrate the work. There are very few boards that I've worked with in my career that have asked to go on this journey, not prodded, not prompted. It was something that organically came up from both boards, and I think that the community should be proud of their leadership because they are learners and leading a learning institution. Referendum, we had the Capital Projects Advisory Committee this morning, and I was thrilled that our students were highlighted. So we had students that were a part of the environmental club who met with our architect team and engineers earlier last week. And this week, they presented their findings, their key takeaways, with the Capital Project Advisory Committee in this room at 7:30 this morning about sustainability initiatives and their hopes and aspirations of where we want to go as a district as we look at how to invest these referendum monies in this project. And I was blown away. There were 3 seniors that were with us, representing the 17 or 18 that met with the architects last week, and what they found exceptionally important to them. And then also proud of how the adults on the Capital Advisory Committee leaned into what the students' priorities were and used that feedback to determine what our focus was for the subsequent meetings. So it was a wonderful partnership of student voice and how we were using it to hopefully create an environment that our students can be proud of. These seniors are not going to see the benefit of the referendum, so them giving the time and the dedication and passion to something that they will never see the fruits other than they said that their siblings will, I thought was heartwarming that they were caring about this. This is, number 4 is a new initiative that we are rolling out next week. So this is hot off the presses, and we're calling this the Superintendent's Advisory Council. We will be creating a council that is open to the community, Lake Forest, Lake Bluff, and Knollwood. We will be asking or inviting the community to apply. And, oh, I'm sorry, we're doing it this week. We moved, I apologize. So we're going to send this out later this week. And we are going to be looking for about 12 individuals from the community to meet quarterly with myself and advise on thought partnership, critical feedback, and ideation around where the district is headed, and to garner that real-time feedback with people who maybe don't have an opportunity to share real-time with senior leadership. So it is an idea that has been evolving over the last 2 years, and I'm excited that this is starting. The applicants will be notified around MLK, and then we are planning on the first meeting to be Monday, January 9th at 7 p.m. This is another attempt to continue to show that we want our community to see and receive transparent feedback, and for us to garner where they believe our opportunities of celebration are and where our opportunities of growth are. This is just another data point to try to reach out to the community. I'm excited about that. I will finish with holiday wishes, echoing what Aaron said. If you were at the tree lighting, it was absolutely fabulous. My daughter was on the dance line. Is that what it's called? I want to say Rockettes, but that's not right. It was the kick line. She was one of the kick line members. The choir was wonderful, and I was right in front of the stage celebrating all of the children that I get the opportunity to work with and celebrate my own. And I hope that everybody does come to the spaghetti dinner on Sunday. The Montgomerys will be there, as we have 2 violinists, 1 celloist, and 1 saxophone player in the family of the Von Trapps. We don't do anything together, by the way. We're all our own expert. We don't collaborate that way. Yeah, we're all our own individual artists. And then I do want to just emphasize what Aaron said. We want the community to take a break in this world of we're in this rapid pace, this nonstop treadmill. We are really hoping our students do disconnect, our staff disconnects, and takes a moment to recharge and to celebrate the calendar year, and hopefully come back refreshed and ready to tackle the second half of the school year. So thank you all very much for your attention.
Thank you, Dr. Montgomery. At this time, we'd move on to public participation. So if there are any members of the public who would like to address the board, please come forward. Okay. Seeing none, we will jump over to board committee reports. First off, the Education Committee. I know John is feeling a little under the weather, but he is here in both spirit and in video, or in speaking. So John, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, so let's do the Education Committee report, if you'd be so kind, John, to share.
I would. I included the minutes from the committee meeting to make up most of the report. I would only add a couple of comments. One was, you only see 3 items from the committee on the minutes. The AI discussion that was led by Aaron took up most of the time. And I have to say, it was a wide-ranging and far-reaching discussion that included everything from experts in teaching and experts in AI to a discussion of where AI can help students do better, to where AI can play a role in making our teaching better, and to the future of AI and perhaps some of the things to look for. It was a wide-ranging discussion. And the second thing I would add is that Aaron has a great knack for, as do all the committee members, for bringing the discussion back to outcomes. AJ would be pleased. It always comes back to, how will this benefit the students? How will the students benefit from it? And how does the work we're going to do play into the outcomes that we hope for our students? So with that, I'm looking forward to the next meeting, which is a joint meeting on the 6th of February with District 67 and 65 to discuss transitions. And I know Aaron is working out the details of the agenda, but it will be about the transitions from 8th grade to high school. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Appreciate it. And I didn't attend that one, but I attended the one before, and I just so impressed with the committee members and the people that are part of that. And I think the AI example is something that, again, I'm always continue to be impressed with the leadership in the building, because it just, you're embracing the ideas of how to leverage the opportunity versus being, how do we get rid of it or how do we change it? It's adapting to the environment, the community, and where the kids are and what they're living through, and how to make it better versus fighting things and fighting trends. So it's really cool. So thank you very much, and thank you, John, for that report. Finance and operations with Dave, please.
Sure. So we had a meeting last month, and it was 100% related to the 5-year projection. This is something we do every year, or I should say Jen and her team do every year. This is a way to look out over the next 5 years and try to estimate what our revenue stream will be looking like, and then also trying to estimate our expenses as well. And so we did receive that along with some extra detail in technology and communications. The revenue was, I think, pretty well locked in based on assumptions of CPI, of what we think it's going to be. We certainly don't know if it will be. On the expenses side, it was more of an inventory of opportunities in ways that we could invest in various things. And at this point right now, it's less, I'd say it's not quite a projection at this point, but more of a wish list. And that's kind of in keeping with how the finance team uses this as a tool for planning and decision making. So there is further work from my perspective to look at those opportunities, consider the strategic plan, and do a little bit more fine tuning to get to where we think we're going to be in 5 years. That's a little bit more informed based on the strategic plan and priorities. As well as finding a way to communicate that in a way that really ties it to student outcomes and how it applies to our strategic plan as well. And I think this will also be part of our discussion in the workshop with AJ next week. And it may also be part, I think it will be part of our whiteboarding session that we were talking about in the workshop today, where we'll be discussing financial reporting and how we want to see it. So I think we'll be able to inform what that next look of the 5-year projection, what that might look like. So that was what we talked about.
Thanks, Dave. Liaison reports, the first one up, Ed Red and legislative update. I did attach some basic stuff of where the veto session and some of the information came out. And I did want to have John Venson, who's going to do the next liaison report as well, comment, so I'll pass it to him to do both. But John was kind enough to step in as be the board representative for the IASB representative, what's the delegate assembly. Thank you very much. I'm not staring at it. And so John represented us as a board with our votes and recommendations that we agreed to last month. And so, and John was also kind enough to be our representative with Matt in the presentation for District 115, and that shared presentation was got great feedback. So, John, if you wouldn't mind commenting a little bit on your experience at the conference, and then if you could dovetail that into the True North update as well, please.
I will try. I appreciated the opportunity to attend the delegates meeting, as well as to participate in Matt's presentation to the audience. It gives you a little bit different perspective to sit with the group of board members from all over the state, and just listening to conversations, and especially listening to the things that they believe are important, gave me a significant appreciation for where we are as a board and as a school district, and under the leadership of Matt and the administrative team. It was everything passed according to the way we had thought it would and our board's recommendations. So there were no issues there with any of the things being voted on. The presentation was extremely well done, very well thought out, and Matt incorporated using all of us, I think, to the best of his best possible way to do a presentation and mix it up from different perspectives to the audience. You know, I've done a lot of seminars and presentations in my career, and when you get 60 people in a room to listen to you at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you've done something well. And they were engaged, they stayed, they asked questions, and they come up and ask questions later. So kudos to Matt and the team who put that together. As far as the True North Leadership Council meeting, I've included Dr. Schneider's minutes. Again, most of the meeting revolved around the issues that they are facing with going to their union, and the Leadership Council for True North, which consists of representatives from the 18 member districts, expressed significant concern over what the budget would be and wanted time to take it back to their individual districts and to their individual superintendents. I had a discussion with Matt. The particulars of the discussion, unfortunately, I can't open up right now because that's their bargaining points and they have not finished with their union. So we were asked not to discuss any specific details. But in general, the parameters I presented to Matt, he voiced that he was comfortable with where they were going and where they were hoping to land, and that its effect on us as one of the member districts would certainly be acceptable. With that, I'll turn it back to you, John.
Thank you, Dr. Vinson. We are on to action items. So we've got 2 today, and the rest is in the consent agenda. So action item number 1, could I have a motion to approve the investment advisor for bond proceed management?
So moved.
So moved.
May I have a second?
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 Do we, any discussion? Yeah, we talked about this in a little bit in workshop. I don't know if, Dewey or Dave, you want to mention anything?
Sure, I don't think Jen's on the line. We received 4 really thoughtful proposals from 4 organizations that I think would have done a very credible job managing proceeds for us. 2 of those presentations really stood out to us, I think. So we went back to 2 different parties with a set of secondary questions. We really wanted to understand the offering. We wanted to understand how they'd interact with our team. And I think, again, 2 extraordinary institutions that we'd be lucky to partner with over time, and I think we'll have that chance to do that. So I think Jen did a really nice job managing the process, getting us to a place where we had 2 great alternatives in front of us, and from there we needed to land on one. So that's where we are tonight.
Yeah, and thank you for yours and Dave's time and reviewing those and being part of that committee with Jen. I really appreciate it. So with that, if there's any other comments, fine. If not, may I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Dr. Vinson?
Aye.
Mr. Burns?
Aye.
Mr. Weinberner?
Aye.
Mr. Noble?
Aye.
Ms. Zenzer?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. May I please have a motion to approve the public address system modernization in the amount not to exceed $265,000, please?
So moved.
Second.
Jordan, do you want to add any little color to this?
So this is a project to replace the PA system at the high school. The current PA system is antiquated and something we were planning on replacing as a part of the referendum process. Quite frankly, with the maintenance issues we're having over there, it has made sense to move this up. So that is what you're voting on tonight. What's been nice as a bit of shared services synergy, that's some alliteration, the system we're putting in place actually mirrors systems we put in place in District 67 about 4 years ago. So those systems have been well tested. They meet the litany of needs we're going to have in the building. They will integrate nicely with our infrastructure. To add on one more piece, something you'll be voting on in the consent agenda if you approve this contract and proposal will be a maintenance grant through ISB. So each year ISB provides, if you have an appropriate project, matching funds to cover a project you're doing in district. They really like covering security projects, which this is. So assuming it gets passed by the board and you approve the maintenance grant, we will submit to ISB later this week, and they will hopefully provide $50,000 in matching funding for the project.
Thank you, Jordan, and also thank you for some of the questions David submitted, and I think you had answered and really gave additional clarity, I think, to the thoroughness of both the review, but also just the advantages you highlighted, and really what lessons learned from 67, but also the different buildings and how we'll task this exercise. So thank you for the effort and time. I appreciate it. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Weinberner?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Mr. Noble?
Aye.
Dr. Vinson?
Aye.
Ms. Zenzer?
Aye.
Mr. Burns?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Tiana. For the consent agenda, may I have a motion to approve consent agenda items 1 through 6, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Burns?
Aye.
Ms. Zenzer?
Aye.
Mr. Weinberner?
Aye.
Mr. Noble?
Aye.
Dr. Vinson?
Aye.
Ms. Davis?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Great, thank you, Tiana. FOIA requests, Patrick Lee, complete, 1 of 1. Jeff Brinkett, 1 of 2, complete. Civic FOIA, 1 of 2, complete. Jonah Marshall, 1 of 1, complete. Patty Flesser, 1 of 1, complete. In progress, thank you. All right, let's see. So announcements, Thursday, December 14th, special board meeting, tax levy hearing, and our workshop. Monday, December 18th, Joint District Policy Committee meeting. Friday, December 22nd through Monday, January 8th, winter break, no school for students and staff. Wednesday, January 10th, 2024, school resumes for students. Monday, January 25th will be Martin Luther King Day, no school for students and staff. Tuesday, January 23rd, Finance and Operations Committee meeting at Lake Forest High School, 7:30 a.m. Thursday, February 1st, virtual parent coffee with Dr. Lenart and Assistant Principal Sasson, 9 a.m. Tuesday, February 6th, Joint District Education Committee meeting, 7:30 a.m. at West Campus. Tuesday, February 6th is our next Board of Ed meeting. May I have a motion to adjourn the Lake Forest Community High School District 115 Board meeting for December 5th, 2023, please?
So moved.
Second.
May I have a voice vote, please? All in favor, say aye.
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 Meeting adjourned.